The last task in this experiment is, that is experiment 11 of skill is set up lifecycle management rules. Set up the lifecycle management rules to the blobs. Okay. There are different storage types that are available in the Azure: hot, cool, and archive. Okay. We'll discuss this: what is hot, what is cool, and archive based on the usage patterns. Okay. So we're going to set up some lifecycle management rules to the blobs that are exist in the storage account. So now this is my storage account. In the storage account, I have created one container. In this container, I have uploaded two files: employee data and department data. Okay. Now, the task of this experiment is set up some lifecycle management rules. Before we see what is hot, cool, and archive storage types, let us try to understand what is the definition. The lifecycle management helps you automatically transition blobs between storage types or delete them based on rules that you define. Okay, so this helps us to reduce storage costs while managing data efficiently over the time. Let us try to understand this definition by using a similar example. If you remember the memory hierarchy in a system, there are three types of memories that exist in a system. One is hard disk, which is secondary memory, and the main memory, which is a RAM, and the cache. Okay, so cache is near to the processor, whereas the main memory is a little far distance, and the secondary memory is far distance from the processor. So when a user asks for a data, when a user requests for a data, first the processor will check whether the data is available in the cache or not. If it is not available, it will move on to the next level, that is in the main memory. Then if it is still not available, then it will goes to the hard disk. Okay. If the data requested data is available in the cache, the retrieve time is very low. It is going to retrieve very fast because that is very near to the processor. Whereas if it is in the main memory, it is take more a little bit more time to retrieve the data. If it is in the secondary memory, it will take a little more time, or it will take a longer time to retrieve the data. Okay, so we can understand this. The memory which is nearer to the processor will gives the fast retrieval, whereas the memory which is farthest from the processor will gives the more time for retrieving the data. Okay, so the secondary memory, if you see, it contains a huge amount, it is available for huge space of memory, right? So more data we can accommodate here in the secondary memory. So medium range of data we can accommodate in the RAM, where the cache is very less amount of memory it is containing. We are able to keep only very less amount of data inside the cache, because the memory of the cache is very costly when compared to the main memory. The memory, the cost of the memory of RAM, that is main memory, is more when compared to the hard disk. That is why hard disk space is more, whereas the cache space is very less. So whatever the data that we use frequently, that we are going to keep in the cache, whereas the data which we are going to use very rarely, we are going to keep in the hard disk. So the similar pattern, if you see here, if you see, there are different storage types are available in Azure. One is hot, cool, and archive. So the similar things, if you observe here, the cache is nothing but a hot, which is nearer to the processor. So whatever the data that we use frequently, we are going to keep in the hot. Whereas the data which we use infrequently, okay, that we are going to keep in the cool. Whereas the data which we are not using much or rarely using data will be keep in the archive. As we have discussed, the cache is a costly memory. Hot is also the data that we keep in the hot memory, hot tier, will cost us more. The Azure will charge more when you keep more data into the hot memory, hot tier. Okay, there is a less amount when compared to the hot in the cool, whereas in the archive it is more less amount that will cost by the Azure. Okay, so according to our requirement, we are going to keep the data, whether to whether we should keep the data in the hot, cool, or archive according to the requirement of the data. So this is the tabular format. So hot, when you take a storage tier hot, the use case is active data, which we use frequently, accessing frequently. Cost is very highest, availability also high because it is very nearer to the processor. It is going to retrieve very fast. When it is cool is a medium, medium range of charge. Okay, whatever the data that we use occasionally, infrequently, then we are going to keep the data in the cool state, cool tier. Finally is archive. It is a long term, where we use the data very rarely, yearly once or 6 months once, that we are going to keep in the archive. Okay. So in the Azure, if you see here, these are the two data. By default, if you see here, the access tier for the both data is hot, which is very high cost, which costs us more by the Azure. So, for example, if any of the data we don't want to use frequently, that we can move it. For example, there is an employee data that I am using right now, but after 1 month, I can transfer this data into a pool. After the 6 months, I can transfer this employee data into an archive, which I can use it very rarely. Okay, that we can define. That is nothing but a life cycle management rules. Now, where we can find this, the options is on the left hand side under the data management. If you see life cycle management, okay, click on this. You have to add a rule here. You have to add a rule. Give some name, rule name of your choice. KL test rule I'm giving. Let me give in the small letters. KL test rule. Okay, this was taken. Now, no need to change these options. The second level is click on next. Once after giving the rule name, click on next. Now, this is the main thing. This is the condition here. Okay. So, if from which date you want to make some modifications, whether you have take the cutoff date from last modified, or on which date you have created the file. Okay. I'm keep this as a last modified. If base blob is nothing but a file. Employee data is a blob. Department data is a blob. Okay. Now, so here I should mention the days, number of days. So for example, if I keep here 7, okay. So if the base blobs were last modified more than 7 days, means means within the 7 days I did not make any changes, right? So if it has crossed 1 week, then what I should do is I'm going to move this into the cool storage. Okay, cool storage. Now add one more condition here. If the last modified is more than 30 days, then I want to move this to cold storage. Cold storage. Okay. Now, one more condition I want to add. If the last modified date is more than 180 days, which is nothing but 6 months. Okay. I want to move that to archive. I want to move that to archive. Now, add one more condition. If last modified, the base blocks are last modified more than 365 days. If it has crossed, when I did not modify the data since 1 year, after the 1 year, I want to delete the blob. Okay. No longer I needed the file. So these are the conditions I have mentioned from hot to cool. Sorry, from hot to archive, right? Hot, cool, and archive. So according to my requirements, so the when it has moved to the archive, the price, the price that cost by the cost that will be charged by the Azure is very less. When it is in the cold, it is a little more when compared to the archive. When it is in the hot, the price is very high. Okay, the Azure is going to charge us very high price here. Okay, so automatically this will happen more than 7 days. If the file is exist without any modification, then it will automatically move to the cold storage. After 30 days, going move to the cold storage, and after 6 months, we're going to move to the archive. Finally, after 1 year, the blob is automatically deleted. Okay, click on add. Okay, KL test rule. If you want to check it, you can click on this and see whatever the day or whatever the things that you have applied here. Okay, move to the cold storage. You can change it also. If you want, you can change it. The things we can delete this and you can change it. Okay, and click on update. That will be updated. So that like this, we have to give the life cycle management for the different storage type, that is hot, cool, and archive. Okay, with this experiment is completed.